Yo, this your boy EC22 of the FairWeather Fan channel, man. We're in for another live podcast. And once again, man, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, leave comments, join the conversation, man. I appreciate all of you. Let's just dive right on in. Listen, I'm going to cover the WNBA real quick, man. Listen, they just came off the Olympic break, man. And listen, unlike the men, no shade to the men, but the girls, they take the Olympic break and they come right on back to playing. And let me tell you, they have been playing some phenomenal basketball. If you ain't watching, I'm telling you right now, you're missing. Man, let's start off with the Atlanta Dreams. Now, listen, the Atlanta Dreams probably won't make the playoffs, okay? Let's call it what it is. They probably won't make the playoffs, man, but listen, back-to-back wins against two playoff teams, y'all, they got something working. I don't know if they just went into the lab during Olympic break, but they found something that's working. I mean, Friday night, they had a nail batter against Seattle Storm, 83-81, and then they turned around and beat up the Connecticut Sun on Sunday, 82-70, man. Let's talk about Friday. It was Ryan Howard, the third-year guard from Kentucky, dropped 30 points, phenomenal night shooting, man. This is what I'm talking about. She really showed out. She's going to be the future for that squad. They're going to have to build pieces around her. But on Sunday, it was my girl, the 14-year vet out of UConn. You guessed it, Tina Charles. She dropped down 22 points and 15 rebounds, man. Good job from my girl, the veteran Tina Charles, man. And they got it done against the Connecticut Sun in the beatdown, 82-70, man. Listen, I love it for the Atlanta Dream. I know they've been struggling, but I think they got some good pieces, especially with Ryan Howard. So let's see and watch their career and watch that team grow and blossom. The Las Vegas Aces. They took a hard loss against the number one team in the WNBA of the New York Liberty. And yeah, it was a 79-67 loss. It was both teams' first game back since the Olympic break. New York had two players go. It was Sabrina Ionescu and also Breanna Stewart went over there to play in Paris. And then the Aces had four. They had obviously jaWilson, they had Jackie Young, they had Kelsey Plum, and they had Chelsea Gray to go play for the U.S. women's team over in Paris. But once again, you know, the New York Liberty do what they do. They beat up on the Aces. Like I say, it was a close game in the fourth quarter. And then all of a sudden, you know, Sabrina Ionescu got in her bag, started busting threes. And then, of course, Breanna Stewart did what Breanna Stewart do, and it was all they wrote. I mean, the Aces just couldn't keep up with the momentum. But jaWilson did have a great game. On Friday, they got back in the groove of things, beating up on the the Los Angeles Sparks, which every team is beating up on the Sparks right now. No shade to the LA girls. They're in a drought right now. But Friday, let's talk about the Indiana Fever. And I got to talk about the Indiana Fever because I've been giving this team a hard time, and I got to do it the right way. Indiana Fever, since coming back for the Olympic break, has been torching teams that are better than them. You know, Phoenix is a playoff team. They're ahead of them, and they beat up on the Seattle Storm, which is their second loss, and that was a beat down. I mean, the Indiana Fever beat the Phoenix Mercury 98-89. BG only had Brittany Griner. BG only had 10 points. Diana Taurasi had a bad night shooting. She only scored 16 points. Kalea Copper did all she could with 32 points. I mean, that girl is a beast, man. If you're watching the Olympics, that doesn't know justice. She is the best player on the Phoenix Mercury, but it wasn't enough to duel against Caitlin Clark and the other girls out there in that game. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, they showed out. Clark had 29, Kelsey had 28. They did their thing. I mean, and they still even have to have it really use their big girl. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, this is what you get out of Indiana, and I love it. But on Sunday, they did it again. They went against the Seattle Storm with Jewel Lloyd and them over there. And they handed the Seattle Storm their second loss since the Olympic break, 92-75. And once again, it was Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell doing their thing, man. But wait just a minute. There was one more person that got it done. Welcome to the WNBA. And I say that respectfully, Lexi Hull. She averages about 4 points a game, whatever the third-year guard from from Stanford. Listen, girl scored, man, 22 points. She had 8 from 10 from shooting, 6 from 7 from deep. The girl was blasting. And I gotta say this. Caitlin Clark has grown on me, y'all. Y'all know right here on the FairWeather Fan, I've been giving Caitlin Clark just a hard time. Not necessarily saying that she wasn't a good basketball player. Y'all know what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that I felt like that the attention around her wasn't earned. But okay, I digress. The girl is balling. The reason why I say that, because when you have a girl like Lexi Hall on the bench who normally don't get in, she's deep on the bench, but yet she was able to get in this game, and Caitlin Clark trusted her, giving her the ball, and she was raining threes left and right. I mean, that's what Caitlin Clark does. She make everybody around her better, but you got to make the shot. She gonna give you the opportunity, and that's what she brings to the WNBA. So you know what? She may be the best assist guard we've ever seen. And don't get me wrong, she's a definite scorer. She can penetrate, she can shoot, she does it all. She does have her head on a swivel, man. Her IQ is just there. So I've got to give Caitlin Clark the love and respect that is due. So there you go, y'all. I don't think I was hating on Caitlin Clark, but some people would suggest otherwise. But anyway, good job, Caitlin Clark. But, and I say this, jaWilson is still the best player in the WNBA, and it's by far. There's nobody better than jaWilson right now. She is just leading most of the charts out there. She is a phenomenal basketball player. She's already the front runner, unanimous for the league MVP. So you got to give it to her, man. Her team's not doing so great, but I still believe they have the best chance of winning a WNBA championship this year yet again. So I just digress. Y'all, let's move on to the NBA. I want to talk about this beef. There's two different beefs I want to talk about. One is in the NFL, but the one I want to talk about right now is the one in the NBA. Dennis Schroeder and Kevin Durant. Y'all listen. Y'all have already heard all this stuff before. I just want to give my 2 cents on this conversation. If you don't know, let me get you caught up real quick. Dennis Schroeder makes a comment, and it's always this social media stuff. When people gonna come talk face to face? That's what I want to know. But anyway, I digress. Dennis Schroeder went on social media. I think it was Twitter. More than likely, that's where everybody air their junk. But anyway, he made a comment saying that the NBA, they uses entertainment to promote their market, to promote their league, while as the European League uses IQ to promote their league. Kevin Durant, I obviously got offended, or however you want to say it. He posted a picture of the men's Olympic team winning their gold medal, and he captions entertainment as well as IQ. And Dennis Schroeder went all the way off. You could have thought Kevin Durant said something about his late grandmother, and he went all the way off, calling KD a weak human being and all this other stuff. And y'all, and people are now beating up on Dennis Schroeder for his comment. Let me say this. First of all, I want to clarify. Dennis Schroeder made the comment that is his opinion. And I get what he was trying to say, because he said in his response, he said he wasn't trying to speak negative of the NBA, which I agree, because obviously he plays for the NBA. So why would he speak ill against the league he plays in? And is a very good player, I may add. Somebody's leaving a comment real quickly, jump in this thing. What up, Blue? Appreciate you for watching. So Dennis Schroeder is a good player. And I believe what he said. He said he wasn't trying to speak negative of the NBA, right? And I agree with him. When you start talking about what each league has to offer the rest of the world, the NBA will promote entertainment over IQ a lot of times. We know that. That ain't something we don't know. We do know that. Now, do you have some ballers out there that got IQ? Obviously, LeBron James and Stephen Curry, even Kevin Durant, who responded. Yes, we know there are some players out there who got IQ, but once again, this is America. This is our professional league. They will promote entertainment. Overseas, and what Dennis Schroeder was saying, I don't watch the overseas games. I don't watch the Euro League, but I can only get it from him because he plays in those leagues. He said over there, they promote IQ to get people to watch their game. And I have to agree with him because I have no reason not to agree with him. And I think that's just a fair assessment from a guy who plays in both leagues. But Kevin Durant went on and just posted a little picture, obviously. And I guess I don't think there was nothing wrong with the picture he said, but we know Kevin Durant and how he gets in his feelings. We know how he gets, how he can go out and speak out of term. And I understand that, right? And maybe Dennis Schroeder read a little bit too much into it. Or maybe there's something personal he's adding to it. Maybe there was some conversation. Maybe this is not the first time KD clapped back at Dennis Schroeder that we don't know of. I don't know. But obviously, Dennis Schroeder took offense to it and went off calling KD a weak human being and I like what he said. He said, you shouldn't respond it. Now, first of all, Dennis Schroeder, you can't tell another man what he can and can't not do. Let's just get that out the way, because you can't tell somebody not to have an opinion. That's just what that is, right? But I want to know, Dennis, because everybody whoop your head, and I want to get on you as well, because I don't think what KD said was warranted that response. But if you got some more stuff that you want to bring out to the world and let us know what led to all that, please let us know. Get back on Twitter and maybe I don't know, I've been watching it, but we need to know exactly really, really where this is coming from. Did y'all have a fight? Or did he steal your girlfriend? I don't know. Did he tell you not to come play with his team? I don't know, right? But Dennis Schroeder, that was a little obsessive. But I will say this to the people who commented on Dennis Schroeder. I don't mind you having an opinion as far as your take on what Dennis Schroeder said, but I don't like the fact that you guys chose to use a narrative as though KD can't get talked about by a person like Dennis Schroeder. Because everybody talked about KD, but when it comes to Dennis Schroeder, all of a sudden he's not supposed to say nothing? Come on now, y'all, man. Now that's being very weak. Because I've talked about KD. Stephen A. Smith talked about KD, and anybody that's in sports media, whether you've been an analyst, whatever, we've all had our run at KD. But when Dennis Schroeder say something, all of a sudden now, Dennis Schroeder, you don't have the right to talk about KD because you're not on that level. Boo! That ain't right. That is not right. But I digress. Teach his own, right? Y'all, let's move on to the NFL. Listen real quick. I typically do not watch preseason games. I'll tell you why. Number one, because usually I forget they own. That's number one. Number two, they're usually boring as all outdoors. And that's pretty much it. Truth, 1 and 2. I said, well, 1 and 2. I forget they own and they boring. But I decided this time to get a chance to watch the second week of preseason football. And I'm going to tell you the games I watched. I watched the Kansas City and Detroit game. I watched the Bills and the Steelers, and I watched the Cowboys and the Raiders. Those are the 3 games that I watched, and I really, really watched them intently. You talking about you thought I was studying game film. I mean, pause, replay, rewind, all that stuff. You thought I was a coach out there, because I just really, really wanted to see how people really look at preseason games. And I feel like if I'm going to do what I do as a sports podcaster, that I need to at least try it, right? So I did. And first of all, let's just go ahead and say what it is. It was what I expected. It was boring as all outdoors to watch. But I'm going to make an attempt to give my analysis of those 3 games that I watched in its entirety. Let's start off with Kansas City and Detroit. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes did his thing. He started the game, and God dog it, that guy. Behind the back pass to Travis Kelce. Somebody need to test him. Somebody need to go test him right now. He just does this crazy stuff. And then when he talked about it, that was even crazy. Like, he was just mad at Kelce because Kelce ran the wrong way. So he just threw the ball behind his back in a little fit, and Kelce ended up catching it anyway. I mean, when you're that good, that type of stuff happened, right? But overall, I think Detroit defense looked great, especially their second string. So I think their depth on defense is phenomenal. The D in Detroit finally stands for defense, and I love it. You're going to get what you're going to get out of KC. There's really not a whole lot to say there. The offense is going to be great. They got some weapons and stuff like that. But when it comes down to Detroit particularly, because that's the team I was really, really watching to see what their offseason was like, I think it's going to be real easy to make some cuts on offense. Let me just say it that way. But the defense, yeah, they're gonna have some long nights trying to figure out how to cut that defense. And I tell you right now, there are some other teams watching the Detroit Lions second and third string guys, because they can be on somebody's roster. So y'all keep it up, Detroit. The Bills and the Steelers. Y'all, I have been struggling trying to sleep because I've changed shifts. I went from days, now I'm on nights, and I've been struggling with trying to get some sleep. But I had no problem with this game against the Bills and the Steelers. Oh, I tell you, that game put me to sleep. 9-3. That was nothing to watch, man. I don't know what Mike Tomlin is going to do with his quarterbacks. I have no idea. I mean, Russell Wilson didn't look like the same Russell Wilson we've been seeing over the last couple of years. And then Justin Fields, I mean, he had a better game, but it wasn't much to look at either. So I just don't know. The Bills didn't start Josh Allen, and I have a little darker opinion why, but I'm going to tell you, this is a secret, just between me and you, why didn't they start Josh Allen? Because he's going to look bad this year. They rather wait to the regular season to see how bad he's going to look. They don't want us to get a preview of what the season's going to be like in preseason. So, I'm just throwing it out there. Just hear me out. But no, it was a brutal game to watch. I couldn't really. I mean, when I said I paused, rewind, and replay, because I kept falling asleep thinking I missed something, but I didn't. So I finally got through the game. The next game was actually the most interesting game that I watched. Out of all of them, obviously the score says so. The Cowboys and the Raiders, 27-12. Listen, I liked everything about how the Cowboys managed that game. It's the preseason. I felt like with their backups in, they treated it like it was a real game. They went and got what they needed to get done. They managed the clock well. They got what they wanted most of the times on offense. The defense is phenomenal. All levels of defense did their job. I appreciate the Cowboys, man. And I think, let me see, something had just came in earlier. I know there's some talk that CeeDee Lamb and the Jones family are now in negotiation, and Jerry Jones said that things are looking positive. So hopefully they can get a deal done to get him on that squad and go ahead and cut out the shenanigans, and then we'll worry about that situation next year. But the Cowboys look good. Even Trey Lance looked pretty good. I mean, he does what Trey Lance does. I still think he's a backup quarterback, nothing really to watch. But at the end of the day, he did what a backup quarterback was supposed to do, getting in the game. I think he handled the game better than Cooper Rush. That's my 2 cents. We can argue about it later. Now, I got 12 minutes left on this show, and I may be done before then. But this is let's see what Lou have to say. Lou said when this Lamb deal gets done, we have got to look the full language of the contracts compared to Yeah. Who's Jay Jettis? Am I missing something? I'm off, Lou. Explain to me who Jay Jettis is. I don't know who that is. Am I missing something? Somebody let me know who Jay Jettis is. I think he's talking about I'm sorry. Justin Jefferson. Yeah, Jay Jettis. I didn't know that was his nickname. Yeah. Justin Jefferson. Yeah. They want to make sure that's comparable, whatever, to that. Some say he should get paid more. Some say less. I don't know. I think whatever the Cowboys do, they got to do the right thing at the end of the day. Now I got 11 minutes left to get into this conversation. Tua Tagovailoa versus former coach Brian Flores. Here is my rant. But no, you may not know. Some of you do. Some of you might not know. Let me get you caught up real quick. Tua Tagovailoa, in an interview, came out and said some pretty heartfelt things against Brian Flores. And I'm going to use the word heartfelt because, he was speaking from his heart. Why? Because Tua Tagovailoa is a great human being. And mostly times when people go up and they say these type of things, they're usually coming from a place of just, clout chasing or whatever. But Tua Tagovailoa spoke from his heart, and I can tell the things he said about Brian Flores was really, really genuine, and it hurt his heart. If you don't know, he stated that Brian Flores pretty much talked about his demeanor. Talked about his styles to play. He told him he wasn't good. He's never going to be good and all this other stuff. And he just felt like it killed his confidence. And he just said and I haven't heard him say it, but one quote said that Brian Flores is not a good human being. I don't know. But regardless of what he said and how he said, I know Tua Tagovailoa came from a very, very, very good place because he is not that type of person to try to seek attention. He's never been that person. He's a very, very good human being, and I love Tua Tagovailoa for that. Now, everybody has been really, really, really demonizing Brian Flores, and I think unjustly. There may be some who agree with me. I don't know. And some say, this is motivation. I'm not going to go that route. But I will state the obvious. The obvious is that Brian Flores came from the Patriots organization. And just like what Shannon Sharp pointed out this morning, he's not the only one that coached like that. I think it was Matt Patricia, Josh McDaniels, all those who came under Belichick, when they got their chance to coach their own team, they coached that same way, and none of those guys are coaching anymore because that was the Belichick way, right? That don't make them bad individuals. They just coached the way they only knew how to coach, right? Brian Flores came out and said, man, I made mistakes, and I felt like he gave an apology on that. But he's not going to give too much attention to it because now he's with Minnesota, right? But the way people demonize Brian Flores, I think was unfair because here he is, guys. I mean, come on now. Let's call it what it is. Let's just set the record straight. Brian Flores, when he got hired to the Miami Dolphins, he was asked for the team to tank. He was asked to tank the team. That's not fair to a brand new coach. Especially when a black coach is completely marginalized when it comes down to how well they manage a team. You're going to ask the guy who's already dealing with a short stick to lose some games just to go and get Joe Burrow? That ain't cool, bro. Ain't cool at all. But nevertheless, Brian Flores said, you know what? I am not tanking. I'm going to win as many games as I win, and that landed in the position in the first round they did, and they ended up getting Tua Tagovailoa instead of Joe Burrow. Now, there's speculation that Flores wanted Herbert, but Stephen Ross, the owner, wanted Tua Tagovailoa. Either way. But let's just talk about Stephen Ross. In that same draft, after not getting the #1 pick, he was still trying to go behind the scenes and do some manipulative stuff by trying to backdoor Brady. So he still didn't want Tua Tagovailoa or Justin Herbert to be exact. It's just when he couldn't get what he wanted, he settled for Tua Tagovailoa, and then whatever happened from there happened from there. Brian Flores get kicked off the squad. He get fired. He filed a grievance. Stephen Ross gets suspended for 6 games. It is what it is. And then he went to go play with the coach for the Steelers, and now he's in Minnesota. I mean, the man has moved on. But obviously, the effect is still on Tua Tagovailoa to bring this up. Now, I know he didn't bring this up, but it's on. A guy asked him a question. He responded, and that's where we're at. But once again, Brian Flores did not give the chance to give because you're talking about, when you look at Greg Popovich of the San Antonio Spurs, this is the reason why Javonte Murray left. This is the reason why Kawhi Leonard left, because they did not like how Greg Popovich talked to players. But the same Greg Popovich that coached Tony Parker and Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili, who coached their butts to some championships and into the Hall of Fame. Everybody got it. Whether you was goddamn Parker, Duncan, or Ginobili, or you was Bruce Bowen. If you didn't do what you're supposed to do, you got it. When you get the younger guys can't handle it. See, they don't want to coach, they don't want to play for Pop. We get that, right? And I'm pretty sure he's doing the same thing to Victor Wembanyama. Now, to what everybody was saying, I totally understand the NFL. You got to protect the mental state of your quarterback. That's what Brian Flores failed to realize because he was a defensive coach, not an offensive coach. That's his mistake. You cannot go out there and criticize and mess with the psyche of your starting quarterback. You cannot do that. You can go talk to everybody else, but you cannot do that to your starting quarterback. That's a mistake he made. Is he a bad human being? Is he a piece of crap of a human being? No, he made a coaching mistake. That's all that is. And mistakes are allowed in life, y'all. It's okay. It cost him his coaching career. He probably will never get a head coaching job again. It is what it is. Probably because he filed a grievance against Miami Dolphins why he won't get it, But anyway, he's probably been blackballed from being a head coach. But at the end of the day, he's moved on with his life. He's trying to take the job he has right now and build what he got to build with Minnesota. Tua Tagovailoa have his opinion about it. Brian Flores has his opinion about it. Let's not demonize Brian Flores for making a mistake. He's only 43 years old. I mean, I know that's, but he's a young man, a young coach at that time. He made some mistakes. Every coach makes a mistake. And let's not just demonize him for that. Yeah, because y'all act like that there was some goddamn domestic situation, like he went over there and was slapping goddamn Tua Tagovailoa in practice and throwing buckets of water on his head and mollywopping up in front of the whole staff and team and the team. No. He probably said some choice words that was highly offensive to the Christian young man, Tua Tagovailoa. Love you. That's my brother in Christ. And I get it. Brian Flores probably shouldn't have did what he did and said what he said. But come on, y'all. People make mistakes. I'm going to keep saying that. But anyway, y'all, that's my rant. Like I say, I stand 10 toes down with Brian Flores. Not that I'm siding with Brian Flores and discrediting what Tua Tagovailoa has said, but I'm standing 10 toes down with Brian Flores because even though all this stuff is going on, I still did not like the way Miami Dolphins did him. I just didn't like that. I don't like that, especially when it comes down to a black coach. My opinion has not changed on Brian Flores. I think Brian Flores is a phenomenal coach. And given the right opportunity, if he's given a second chance, he will prove all the haters wrong. Because I still think that he can be one of the best NFL coaches in the league if he's given a chance, especially now, knowing what he knows now. And that's all I have for you, folks. This has been the FairWeather Fan channel, man. Thank you for watching, man. Please join us at the top of the hour on Facebook Talk Radio with my boy Louis Medford, Coach Martez Turner, and we'll see TJ if he gets on later on. But we are out. Thank you for watching.